What up, guys? We're Sleeping with Sirens, and we're going to talk about our first concert experiences. And right here to my right is Mr. Nick Martin, who's gonna slay. He's always got the best stories.
I don't have like the craziest story, but my first concert experience, I was in the 8th grade, and I remember like leading up to 8th grade, everyone looked forward to the 8th grade trip, which was to Disneyland. And I remember just being so pumped, like, cool, I'm gonna go to Disneyland, it's gonna be so rad, 8th grade trip. And then I got super into punk rock and just like MTV Generation stuff, so I ended up skipping it to go see No Doubt on their headline Tragic Kingdom tour
in 8th grade
with Weezer and a band called the Suicide Machines. So I remember going to the show with my best friend Matt at the time, who I started my first band with, and I remember watching the Suicide Machines and being like, punk rock is so cool. And I was like, I want to be in a band, I want to do exactly what they're doing. Still love No Doubt. No Doubt was incredible that night. And I remember specifically watching Weezer, and that was during the Blue album, and just my mind being blown at how insane they were as far as musicianship goes. And I remember Rivers threw his guitar in the crowd at one point during the show, and I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, I want to do all of this. So that was my first concert experience that changed my life. Being able to be exposed to punk rock, being exposed to MTV Generation, like No Doubt, being exposed to rock music like Weezer is a very awesome, like, well-rounded show that just pushed me to be where I am today.
All right, well, Nick's story blows mine away, but I want to point out that I'm a bit younger than Nick. All right, his shit is way cooler than mine. I wish I had that story, but no, mine was.
Was it train?
No, yeah, the train. And it was same. It was around middle school, and I started getting into like our genre, like our scene of music, and I was really into a band called Thrice and Under Oath, and I think the Story of the Year was on that show as well. And I remember going to that as like my first like bigger concert. Like drove, you know, like an hour away to go see this concert, and Story So Far had this black drum kit with like
Story of the Year.
Yes, Story of the Year. You know what I meant. And no, their drums sounded ridiculous. Then Under Oath comes on, and I'm you know, that's my thing. I'm just watching the drums the whole time, and then Under Oath comes on, and Aaron Gillespie is just a monster back there. Just
on the show. It's
a constant drum fill. It never ends. Every single song is just drum fills, which I'm loving it the whole time. And then Thrice, and they're, as a band, like, they're just incredible. You know, it was really cool to watch their whole show and to see like how a real like rock show should be put on. As far as like that was for like my first experience like that. And then after the show, I remember going over to a friend's house, and my friends, a few of them left, and they said they're going to go back to the venue and try to sneak in to hang out with the band. And I was like, no fucking way, like, you're not going to do that. And they went back there, they snuck in the back door, and I don't know if they could have been lying or whatnot, because they didn't have pictures to prove it, but they were gone for a while, and they came back. They said that they got in there and hung out with the band, and that's awesome. But it's just weird, because now, like, us being on the road, it would be weird to see that happen, but there has been times where it has happened. You know, like, we'll run into people like at bars or whatever next door. But if fans like sneak backstage, I know that you're the first. You're gonna see our crew guys about rip their heads off and say, "Get the hell out!" But yeah, that was my first real concert experience.
My first concert, I went with my friend Joel, who was like kind of older than me. I was 13. He was kind of like a big brother to me growing up. He's the kid down the street, and he was like, hey, let me take your son to a concert. Of course, my mom was like, yeah. So I went to go see Primus, and
oh my God.
It was like Les Claypool experience. It was something like, it was actually Primus, and it's so loud. And I remember doing everything that night. He was like, dude, you need to like circle pit. So there was like a circle pit, so I got my first circle pit. And I remember getting knocked down, people picked me up. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, I gotta run around and push people in a circle, and everyone's gonna help you up. So it like taught me like concerts are kind of like, it's a big family there, and everyone's like really cool. So taking away from all that experience, I crowd surfed, I mosh pitted, and it was probably still one of my favorite concerts I've ever been to. It was at House of Blues, Orlando.